Is cannabis all about getting high? Is that what your perception is about cannabis? Is that what you think about when cannabis comes up in conversations? Is just getting high? Welcome to the third part of our cannabis conversations that we're not having. And we're going to dive into the potential that we're not talking about. Even puppies have an endocannabinoid system. Do you remember our endocannabinoid system from the last session? Even animals have an endocannabinoid system where cannabis can bind into. They do really well with CBD. So the potential that we're not talking about is often the medical, therapeutic, or spiritual aspects of cannabis. We typically consider cannabis as an agent of being high or elevated. But as I was saying before, it's not all about that. That is one piece of cannabis, and that's typically associated with THC. But did you know that there are a myriad of other compounds in cannabis that aren't about getting high, but that are about interacting with the body in a very therapeutic way? So I want to share just a few of the other aspects of the cannabis plant so that you can have a greater understanding of what it is that I'm talking about. So when we focus solely on THC and getting high, we miss the whole big picture of what this plant has to offer. This plant is full of many different compounds, including CBD, CBG, THCA, CBDA, CBG. All of these compounds are called cannabinoids, and each of them has a different way of interacting with the body to bring us a therapeutic benefits. So when I was saying that THC tends to be our biggest focus, and it certainly is in the recreational market. So Health Canada and the retail stores largely focus on THC. They are bringing in more of these other cannabinoids, but their focus is recreational use and not as much this medicinal use. So when we are looking for the therapeutic benefits of cannabis, we need to understand these other cannabinoids and how they work within our bodies. So CBD is a really great cannabinoid that can help us with anxiety and pain and sleep at the right dose. When working with CBD, we often pair it with a little bit of THC, not enough to get high, but enough to activate the CBD so that it can work within that endocannabinoid system that we talked about previously. It is important to have these cannabinoids working together and to have the expression of a full plant, so a full plant essence, where you're getting all of these cannabinoids working together and all of the terpenes and all of the flavonoids. In our industry right now, we're noticing a lot of isolating of different parts of the cannabis plant, which give you a specific expression of the plant, but it doesn't give you the whole expression of the plant. And this is where we see some relationships with cannabis just not working out, where we're finding cannabis is not working for people because of this altering of the cannabis plant. So I want to share a little bit too about the cannabinoid CBG, which is a newer cannabinoid on the market, but it has been in our cannabis plants since the beginning of time, because it is the first cannabinoid that ever develops in a growing plant. And so when we used to harvest plants, we weren't really looking at the specific THC amount. We were looking at the whole plant. And as we harvest, we were able to harvest different aspects of the plant and its own expression. So we would have had some CBG, we would have had some THC, and we would have had some CBD. But with our altering of the plant, we're needing to be specific in growing these cannabinoids because they aren't as fully expressed anymore in the whole plant, just through our genetics and through our breeding practices. So CBG is known as the mother of all cannabinoids, and it's also really good for nervous system regulation. So I believe it is the cannabinoid for us in this decade. How about in the 2020s, we bring in CBG for nervous system regulation. You know, and when our nervous systems are regulated, we can heal. We can move forward in a peaceful way. We can find more joy and find more ease within our lives when we're not in this fight and flight response always to what's going on around us. So CBG, excellent for nervous system regulation, also really good for grounding into our bodies and presence. And I think that's also where our nervous systems help us too, is to be present within our own bodies and to not be trying to escape and to look for ways of stepping outside of our lives and our presence. And so this is the gift that CBG offers to us. THCV is an amazing cannabinoid that helps with blood sugar regulation, insulin sensitivity. It can help with regulating our weight and will help us with our appetite. Imagine that, a plant that can really pair with us to help us to bring good healing and nutrition and nutrients into our being. So those are just a few of the cannabinoids that cannabis expresses and that we can look to, that is in addition to THC. THC also is an amazing medicinal cannabinoid that can really help us with pain and sleep, especially with insomnia, and can also help us to lighten that mood with the right dose and the right cultivar or strain. Not all cannabis plants are going to pair well with you, and this is the process of finding what's going to work for you. This is called the experimental phase. So when we're working with cannabis, it's not like a prescription pharmaceutical where you take 2 pills in the morning and 2 at night, and these are the results that you can expect to see. Cannabis is more personal because our own endocannabinoid systems are individual and personal. So we need to take the time to sit with cannabis and to listen and to notice how what we're consuming is working within our bodies. And is it working well for us? Is it not working well for us? Do we need to shift our dose? Do we need to shift our brand or the cultivar or the strain or the ratio? Are we pairing CBD and THC together? Do we have the right ratio of each of those? So it can get complex in how there are so many facets of this, and it can also be simple by tuning into your own intuition and allowing the plant and your own body to commune together and to listen. And this is an invitation to sit with the plant and to slow down and to listen to our bodies so that we can really access these potentials of cannabis. We are in a hurry. We're in a big rush. We want things to work immediately, and we want that joint to hit our systems quickly and to do its work fast. But cannabis is slower. Cannabis can work slower. It can work over more of a longer term. It can help us with immediate relief. It can help us with longer term wellness. But it's up to us to inform ourselves and to educate ourselves and to move into that place of being in tune with our bodies and being in tune with the plant. So I invite us to explore more about the potential that cannabis has for us. And I have another way of working with cannabis that is highly underrated and highly underutilized. And this is working with cannabis in a spiritual way. Cannabis as a spiritual ally. How does that work? It's amazing. When we consume cannabis with the intention of sitting with her in ceremony, sitting with her with a sacred intention, maybe getting a journal, lighting a candle, just setting aside time to commune with cannabis and to commune with ourselves, to invite in the divine, the universe, God, whoever it is that is your relationship, and see how the three work together, you, cannabis, and the divine. Again, it's a very sacred experience that I love to spend time with cannabis in this way. So it's another way of utilizing cannabis in our well-being, in our pleasure, in our spirituality. The potential for cannabis is endless, especially when we sit and listen. So thank you for joining me for these cannabis conversations that we're not having. And I'm curious how these have sat with you. And I'm curious what thoughts have arisen for you when we've been talking about the stigma or relationship or the potential of cannabis. All of these aspects are going to be dived in deeply through our Cannabis-Informed Practitioner Program. This is a 6-week program for practitioners or people who want to be cannabis informed. It doesn't mean that you have to consume cannabis. It just means that when you're interacting with people who do consume cannabis or are curious about cannabis, that you have informed information to share. You're coming from a space of non-bias and non-judgment, but from a space of education and understanding of this plant. So if you would like more information about this program, I'm going to include a link where you can join our list and be able to get the information to jump into more deeply into being cannabis informed.